Master, what is the true value of a human life? This profound question echoed through the silent temple, seeking wisdom from the enlightened one amidst the clouds. In the stillness of the dawn, where the only sounds are wind chimes and whispers, a young disciple searched for his purpose in the vast universe. His heart was heavy with the burden of self-doubt, feeling insignificant in a world that often measures worth by wealth and status rather than inner spirit. The master looked upon his student with eyes full of infinite compassion, understanding the struggle of a soul trying to find its light in the shadows. Instead of words, the Buddha presented a simple, rough stone. It looked unremarkable to the untrained eye, yet it held a secret warmth within its core. Take this stone and ask its price at 4 different places. But remember, you must not sell it, no matter how much they offer you today. Armed with the mysterious stone and his master's command, the young monk descended from the mountain, entering the chaotic world of the village market below. The atmosphere was thick with the scent of spices and the cacophony of life, a stark contrast to the quiet sanctuary he had just left behind. His first stop was a simple fruit stand. The vendor, a man worn by years of labor, looked up curiously at the monk in the stone. The vendor examined the rock, rubbing it against his apron. To him, it was just a curious pebble, perhaps a toy or a simple paperweight for sale. "It is a pretty stone," the vendor said with a shrug. "I will give you a dozen oranges for it. They are sweet and fresh today." "A dozen oranges for a treasure?" The disciple politely declined, remembering the master's words, and continued his journey through the crowded, noisy marketplace of life. He realized that the orange seller could only see value in terms of fruit. His world was defined by the simple trade of everyday items and food. Next, he visited a wholesale potato merchant. This was a place of bulk and weight, where value was measured by the ton and the bag in stock. The merchant was a practical man, focused on numbers and inventory. He looked at the stone with a more calculating eye than the fruit seller had before. He saw potential in the stone, perhaps as a decorative piece for his office. He pondered for a moment, calculating how many sacks it was worth today. "I will give you 3 sacks of my finest potatoes for that stone," he offered. "It is a fair price for something that is just a rock." Once again, the disciple declined. The value had increased from a dozen oranges to 3 sacks of potatoes, yet it was still far from the ultimate truth. He began to understand that people's perception of value is limited by their own needs and the environment they live in every single day of life. His journey took him further, away from the fields and markets, towards the center of commerce, where gold and silver were the primary languages spoken by all. He stood before the doors of a prestigious goldsmith. Here, the air was quiet, and every item on display was crafted with extreme care and absolute precision. The atmosphere inside was one of wealth and status. The goldsmith looked up from his work, his eyes narrowing as he saw the humble monk approaching him. The merchant took the stone casually at first, but as the light hit its surface, his posture changed. He sensed something unusual beneath the rough outer shell. He adjusted his magnifying glass, peering deep into the heart of the stone. His hands began to tremble slightly as he realized what he was truly holding. "This is no ordinary rock," he whispered to himself. He looked at the disciple with a mixture of greed and immense respect for the mysterious stone object. "I will offer you 500 bars of pure gold for this stone," he declared, his voice shaking with the weight of the massive, life-changing offer. 500 bars of gold, a fortune that could build a palace or feed a village for a lifetime. The stakes had been raised to the heavens today. Even with such a life-changing offer, the disciple stayed true to his master's command. He took the stone and left the shop in a stunned silence. He felt the weight of the stone differently now. It was no longer just a simple task. It was a revelation, unfolding with every step he took. His final destination was the workshop of a legendary master jeweler, a man who spent his entire life studying the soul of the earth's many treasures. The old man didn't just look at the stone. He felt it. He handled it with a reverence that the others had completely lacked in their greed. As the specialized light pierced the rough shell, the room was filled with a deep crimson radiance. The stone's true identity was finally revealed to everyone. It was a raw, unpolished ruby of legendary size and purity. A gem so rare that ancient history books spoke of it as a mythical treasure. The master jeweler fell to his knees. In all his 80 years of searching, he had never seen anything as magnificent or as perfect as this. My entire fortune, my life's work, and everything I own would not be enough to buy even a tiny fragment of this priceless ruby, he whispered. The value of the ruby was beyond calculation. It was infinite. It was a masterpiece of nature that transcended the concepts of trade and currency forever. With a heart full of realization, the young monk began his ascent back to the temple. The lesson was becoming clearer with every breath he took. The journey back was different. He no longer felt small or insignificant. He carried a piece of the infinite within the humble pocket of his robe. He returned to his master and recounted everything: the oranges, the potatoes, the gold, and the master jeweler who knelt in the presence of the stone. The Buddha smiled, his face radiant in the moonlight. He had watched the disciples' journey, not with eyes, but with a soul that knows all things. My son, the value of this stone never changed, the Buddha said softly. What changed was only the perception of the people you met today. Each person saw in the stone only what they were capable of seeing. They measured its worth by the limits of their own small worlds and needs. You are like this stone, the master continued. If you place yourself among people who only deal in oranges, they will value you as such. In our modern world, many of us feel undervalued. We work in environments that do not see our true potential or our inner brilliance and light. Do not let a dozen oranges define your worth. If people around you cannot see the ruby in your heart, it is not your fault today. Your value is inherent and absolute. It does not depend on the approval of those who lack the vision to see your true, magnificent colors now. You must find the place where you belong, the place where your gifts are recognized, and your value is seen as the priceless treasure that it is. When you find the right environment, your true self will shine. You will no longer be a rough stone, but a beacon of light for others. We all have a ruby within us. The challenge of life is not to change our value, but to find the master jewelers of our own lives. You are priceless. You are unique. You are a masterpiece of existence that no amount of gold or worldly goods can ever truly hope to purchase. Remember the lesson of the stone whenever you feel lost. Your worth is not determined by the market, but by the divine spark within your soul. Place yourself where you are valued. Seek those who recognize your brilliance. You are a ruby, and you deserve to shine in your true home. Thank you for watching. May you find the place where your ruby heart is cherished. Subscribe to join us on this journey of awakening and peace.